Hi all, it's Vanessa Love and this is my channel about the mental health field and related topics. It's actually what that is today. Um, Sorry about my hair. It's 80 degrees in my office because it's winter and that's what they do. Which, I mean, you know what? Actually better than a lot of the other places that I've worked. So, yay. Or that I've rented offices. So, like, occasionally I come across people who, like, I fear have no ethics and who are therapists. And it kind of upsets me because, like, they're going to ruin people because they're looking for money instead of being good people or good therapists or ethical people or moral people or, all of these things that, like, it's just very upsetting. And sometimes, like, I don't want to interact with other therapists because, like, if they're not in front of you, they're kind of mean. And, like, I mean, even when I've met some therapists, they've been actually kind of mean too. And I'm just like, oh, okay, so you're that type. Okay, at least I know where you are. At least I know who you are. We don't have to be friends. We don't have to talk to each other. We're good, aren't we? Yeah, just as I've said before, sometimes when you upset people online, they'll be like, why did you even become a therapist? Like, maybe that's not something for you. And I'm like, everyone has their own motives, everyone has their own ways of interacting, and, like, a lot of things that they can do that are within ethics that, like, it's just a matter of personal and professional opinion rather than, like, going against ethics. I mean, obviously don't hurt your clients, but, like, you know, if I say, oh, one of my clients had test anxiety, there are therapists who are like, why are you telling the stories of your clients? Like, because other people need to know that they're not alone. Like, that's, and it doesn't have to be dry information. Other people are actually experiencing what they're experiencing. It's a whole kind of point of my job, actually, but, whatever. Um, but, like, we all have, like, our different stances and our different ways of doing things. But, like, so, um, I've come across two people who don't qualify to be therapists. Like, and it sucks because it's just like, one of them says they have a license. I looked them up. It looks like it's actually a valid license. The other one doesn't have a license and is just kind of like, I have a bachelor's. I can have 6-hour sessions. And it's very weird and very egotistical. Like, if I talk about my clients, I talk about, like, one, first, how wonderful they are because I love working with them. And two, like, oh, my client who experienced trauma, significant trauma. Oh, my clients who have been adopted. Like, I'm very much like, I'm in this for my clients and I'm in this to, like, be here for my clients. Like, my clients are here. Like, they're here. I'm here. We're here. Not for each other. I'm here for them. But, like, the way that this person wrote their ad, it's like, I can offer you so much, and I do, like, I have clients who are celebrities, and I have client, and I'm like, yeah, I wouldn't talk or brag about, like, having clients who are celebrities because, like, celebrities are people too. Like, of course, of course, some of them need therapists and coaches. So, like, it's like, and the thing that I worry about with anyone who's like, I counsel celebrities is that, especially if they're not licensed, they could just say those names. There's no confidentiality, there's no ruling body, there's nothing that says that they can't talk about that. And with this person being so egotistical and being like, um, I don't mind punching female religious figures. I used to go to the gym with this person, and that was something that they wore on shirts. So, that's fun. That, like, and kind of taking that as a badge of honor instead of, like, it's really offensive to say that you only punch people who are female religious figures. You don't try to punch the other people who are in power. Like, what is your actual issue? Like, you seem like you have damage in some way. Um, so, yeah, just, it's, I just find it so egotistical and so like I do this and I do that and like and it's not about like the actual like work. It's about like this person. And it's atrocious. They are listed on Psychology Today. It's something that I've said that I have a problem with for Psychology Today is that people who don't have licenses and who are never going to be licensed can be listed on Psychology Today because Psychology Today doesn't care where their money comes from. I mean, that's the appearance that it gives, like just saying I don't, and they have like, so they have bachelors in Christian counseling, which I'm just like, why would you then say that you punch people and you punch religious figures and you punch female religious figures? Like, that is so weird, dude. So yeah, like they just, oh my god, it's so awful. Yeah. So I recently came across someone, they identified themselves as a trauma therapist and they were like very condescending and mean, and I was just like, what the actual fuck? And then I realized that they had been raised in pageants, which like very competitive, very, money oriented most of the time, unless you're doing it. But they have like beauty ones and they have like scholarships ones. Most of them qualify as scholarship ones. This is something that I don't know, I have random knowledge. And so like it is very competitive, obviously, and if you're kind of like going into a woman related field and you're used to putting down other people, then like this is something that like is going to be something that you participate in, which I think is kind of shitty, especially like it just again, I don't want to interact with most other therapists. And actually, there is another therapist who like works near me and she does not talk to me. I don't know if she talks to anyone else either. So I'm just like, okay, you just be your little isolated self, I guess, and never do anything. I know when I first moved in, I had like sent an email, was like, hey, I did turn on the sound machine, just letting you know, and then run into her all the time. Nothing is said. Very interesting, very weird to me, but okay, like we don't have to be friendly then, even though we're kind of in a similar space. That's so weird. But okay, do you have those whatever. So like again, the master's in Christian counseling, and then there's like a PhD, but it's a PhD, it's not a psychology doctorate. So like it's a very weird thing to just be like, so you got your license this way? Like, wow. So what happened was this person was talking about a bunch of things that like, related to like a woman, like an AFAB experience, right? And so they were saying like, oh, like women can't, do this and do that and exist and, and I was like, okay. And then at the end of the clip, she was like, so we're going to have an affirmation. And the affirmation we're going to have is shame doesn't live here. Now, I do affirmations. I do affirmations with clients who want them. This is not everyone. And here's why you would want to do affirmations, and it's okay if you don't. Most people understand that affirmations are like, look yourself in the mirror and be like, I love myself. You don't have to do that. You can be like, I'm working on loving myself, I'm working on loving my life, I'm working on healing myself, I'm working on getting better every day. It does not matter. You don't have to like look at yourself and be like, everything is great, when it's not. That's false, right? Like your brain knows that, you know that, like we all know that, like this is not a true statement, right? So the reason that you would want to do affirmations is if you basically have all of these things about yourself where you're like, I'm just going to choose one, like I'm a loser, right? So like you go around the world and into the world and you're just like, I'm a loser, look at this fucking like shit that happens to me because I'm a fucking loser, everywhere, right? Everywhere. And like you can change it, like I'm working on, a different perspective. I'm looking at things differently. Those are good affirmations, like if you want to interrupt that. Another way that you might want to interrupt your thoughts is if like you experience anxiety at the end of the day and your anxiety starts going like, wow, look at all the loser shit that you did all fucking day. Oh, let me count the ways. And you want to interrupt that. So like, hey brain, I'm working on changing the loser ways. So I'm working on like shifting my perspective. I'm working on myself. I'm working to better myself. I'm working to, you know, like I wouldn't necessarily like you're working on winning yourself or something, you know, like, but you're working on like different things, right? So like that you don't view yourself as a loser, right? So if you say things to yourself like, I don't want to forget, you might accidentally forget things because the word is forget, it's not remember. I don't tell myself don't forget things. I say, please remember that. And I usually try very hard to remember the things that I need to remember to do, right? This should not be an issue. This should not be a thing, right? So, so, like, I tell my clients, like, say positive things. Like, say something that's, like, in a positive like, it's affirming, right? It's affirming something. So, like, shame doesn't live here. The focus is still on your shame. So, like, pride lives within us. You're working on your pride. You are proud of yourself for blah, 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 blah. You can have any one of those affirmations because they're supposed to interrupt your brain. Your brain is lazy. It goes down the same routes over and over again. It gets reinforced over and over again. So affirmations disrupt that. You are physically changing your brains with affirmation. That's why you would do them. They're not for everyone. I don't expect you to do them. Don't come at me. If you do them, great. If you say it once a day, great. If you say it 20 times a day, great. Wonderful. Cool. So I'm like, hey, you know, pride lives within us, right? Like, let's go for the positive. This person said, I work with traumatized people, and after a lifetime of trauma, you can't live, laugh, love your way out of trauma, and your trauma responses, signed, a trauma therapist. And I was like, okay, good. Sure. Nice. Really glad you have that opinion. I make fun of things as a way to cope, and I'm like, so you don't want live, laugh, love for your clients? What did you just say? Say it back to me. Say it closer to my face. Say it closer to my fucking face. And I'm like, you don't want your clients to live, laugh, love after a lifetime of trauma. You don't want your clients to live, laugh, love after a lifetime of trauma. You want your clients reliant on you then. You want your clients never going beyond you. You know, you want your clients reliant on you and you want their money. That's kind of shitty. Also, the opposite of live, laugh, love is death, misery, and live would be, like, laugh would be misery, and love would be hate. So you want death, misery, and hate to your clients and have that continue for their life? You know what? I hope your clients find you perfectly charming and wonderful. Like, none of my clients, first of all, want that. Second of all, most of my clients are capable of live, laugh, love, and we're working on that, and that is actually what they probably should be working on, not death, misery, and hate. You know, like, let's not have those in each other's lives. That sounds like a great idea. Also, why would saying, hey, let's keep it positive, let's talk about pride, why would that trigger the fuck out of you? Like, what kind of weird fucking mentality are you in that, like, shame has to be a part of you? You know, like, that is so fucking weird. As a therapist, you're identifying yourself as a therapist. And then I looked at I looked at the page, and it said a bunch of, like ramble bullshit that I'm like, I don't know if this person's okay. So that's a thing. But, like, I don't know if this person's okay, because I'm not going to tell you exactly, like, you know, like, what was written on there, but it was, like, psychological soul alchemy, which I'm like, do you know what alchemy means? Like, I get it in the spiritual sense, like, what alchemy means, it means transformation, obviously, but, like, why don't you just say it like that? You know, why does it have to be alchemy? Alchemy does not have, like, a very good, like, reputation, essentially. It's like trying to take random shit and turn it into gold. Like, am I wrong? Like, that's what I remember about, like, alchemy in general. Like, that people were trying a bunch of shit to make gold and they couldn't. Like, maybe you shouldn't be using alchemy. Just by the way, you know, maybe you should be using other words that actually make sense, you know, and like saying that they're like saying that there was some kind of sex educator, but saying it in such a way that was like really weird, like not like, oh, I practice sex positivity, or like there was a while where like people, instead of saying like sex positive or this type of stuff, would just say like saga, which was sex and gender like affirming. And so like you'd be like, oh yeah, and saga, you know, which obviously sex and gender affirming, cool, you know, like sex positivity, cool. Like it wasn't like that at all. It was some like sexual, sensual education principle thing. I don't even remember what it didn't make any sense, and it was just like real therapists who are actually in the field with actual clients will say things like kink friendly, kink affirming, you know, those type of things. This like sensual sexual coach something or other, like that sounds really fucking weird. Like, are you sleeping with your clients? Like, what are you doing? And then it was like, and I'm a provocateur, and it was like, what does being a therapist have anything to do with being a provocateur? Like, I don't, like, are you attending protests? Because that's not on your site. Like, and I visited their website. So remember how I've continually said, especially to to young, new in the field therapists, like, hey, whatever direction you take, if you write a book and you take full fee clients, perfectly fine. If you want to become a public speaker, perfectly fine. If you want to also get like your license in addiction and like counseling, great. Everyone's gonna have a totally different like pathway in this field, right? But sometimes young professionals get caught up in these things about like, you have to have a podcast, you have to have a TikTok, you have to go online and be like, hi, I'm gonna educate you about depression, fuck you, you know, and like all of these things, right? Like you have to do these things in order to like get people to sit down with you and give you their money. But all of it is like kind of like, unfortunately, MLM type of stuff where it's like, create a group, like then people have to pay you to access the group, and if someone doesn't pay you, kick them out of the group, you know, all of these things that I'm just like, okay, so like you're definitely on the root of that, and like it doesn't feel authentic because it's not. You know, like whatever comes actually natural to you is what you should be doing. You know, like, again, I do the videos, but I don't always do the videos because I'm busy with clients. You know, if I have a cancellation, I come on. You know, if I have the time, I don't always. Like, there's all of these things that it's like, yeah, that feels comfortable for me. I'm a little inconsistent. Yeah, I think the group that actually likes me is fine with that. I don't think that anyone's like, fuck, you know, this bitch can't fucking find her way out of a box or onto YouTube enough, you know, like, fuck her. Like, most of you guys are like, oh, hey, it's you again. Like, all right, sweet, you know. So, like, you know, like, you do have to come from a very authentic place, all of this stuff. Like, her webpage just said coming soon and podcast. Like, and there were no podcast. It was coming soon, which I'm like, oh, God. Oh, God. I'm guessing that this person is going to go the spiritual route. So, have Mel Robbins, or beyond Mel Robbins, perfectly fine. Gabor Mate, I know he goes on a lot of stuff. I wouldn't be surprised. Bessel van der Kolk, like, there's a bunch of people that, you know, just end up like being on podcasts, and so I'm like, yeah, this is probably something that she's going to do. Like, she's gonna have all of these nice big celebrities come on and be like, oh yeah, you know, trauma and depression end up like this, and it's really important to have sex education, and all of these things that it's like, okay. Or like they'll talk about like some of their stories or whatever it is that is kind of their brand, and like it's all packaged, it's all media savvy, it's everything that is what it's supposed to be and what it's supposed to look like. And honestly, like sometimes when I see certain people's like branding and like Instagrams and TikToks and all this other stuff, like I'm just like, oh, it's carefully curated crap. Okay. It's a bunch of people going, and being like, oh, look, I couldn't possibly have known I was going to get an award today, even though they told me I was getting the award and I showed up for the award and I look so pretty, or whatever other thing it is. Like, oh, we all showed up at the same place. Yeah, the same way that you do every week. Sure. Okay. Like, this is carefully curated crap, and it's one of those things where I'm like, listen, I was educated on, I love media. I love like the behind the scenes stuff. Like, they have, there was some like TV show that was like a fictionalized TV show where like the producers like had a dating show and then just like carefully created all of the drama and would be like, yeah, Susie said some really mean things about you. I don't know if she's really your friend. And then like watch the drama explode. Because they needed something for TV, which like, I fully believe that some of those things have happened. And so like media literacy is important when you look at the carefully curated crap, because you're like, who is this person trying to attract? Sponsors. And then with the sponsors, hopefully other people who will buy the crap and buy the stupid like life and pretend like everything is fine, and every one of their pictures is gonna be almost like I don't know, whitewash, like white, like when you take photos like and it just becomes like kind of white out, like and like highlighted in some way and no imperfections and all of this other stuff. Like, okay, yeah, that's what it's gonna look like. That's what it's going to be. And, there's going to be a lot of people who I'm sure will pay her $2,000 for whatever other thing. Oh, and she'll probably create a course. So, course, podcast, what else? Yeah, the glamorized pictures. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that's, like, very important that, this person... But, like, the other thing is that, like, underneath it all, like, it's just not authentic, and I just don't know how many people are actually going to feel comfortable after having sessions, or if this person is also a coach. Like, also they had a donation link on their website, or like their profile, which I was like, I'm not even clicking that shit. You couldn't even try for a Linktree? Like, Linktree is free, man. Like, you couldn't even do it. Ugh. Yeah. Oh my god. Like, I just can't imagine. I think every therapist has their strengths. I think that if they want to be a wealthy therapist, the book by Casey Truffo is great. It's called Be a Wealthy Therapist. She's very much about like, here's what you need to get used to, but like if you're more comfortable with these things, do those things. And like it really does work. Like that's how that's how it should be. You don't have to be pigeonholed into these things that are the courses, the podcasts, the products, the branding, the all of this stuff that's just like, look, you have a wonderful life and you're a therapist. Why don't you just find out how to do that? And it's like, okay. I have a feeling that you might be one of those people who are like, oh, I never had to struggle in life. Like, oh, okay, cool. Really glad. Wonderful. Like, there's going to be so many people looking for you. Yeah. But, it's going to be all of those things. And, I mean, I'm hoping no ethical violations, but I don't know at this point because, like, I honestly don't know if this person is going to keep their license. Like it like, as I said, it looks like they have their license. If they fuck up, they're gonna fuck up big. It's gonna be bad. Like I do, it's just gonna be bad. So, like, way far away from that topic, and I'm like, I don't know, do I make another video at this point? Um, is that there just continues to be issues for me with the insurances, and like, it's like I'm not being paid. It's terrible and awful, and it's one of the aspects of therapy that sucks. But the other aspect is begging your clients for a full fee or for a sliding scale fee and hoping that they can afford it. Some people are probably going to go more towards that because of the issues with the healthcare premiums, so much so that I'm like, oh my god, one of my colleagues was quoted $1,600 a month. Like, you know what? Being without insurance sounds pretty fucking good. You know, like, not that we can really sit there and be like, oh, be without insurance, but it's like, what are you gonna get without insurance? Like, what are you, like, who's getting, like, what is actually happening for you if you pay that much for insurance per month? That's, like, more, it's more than, like, it's such an exorbitant amount of money that I'm just like, oh my god. I know that when I wasn't married and I had to have my own insurance, I was like on some insurance that had like a $7,000 deductible that I never reached. So like I was just giving this company money. That was basically it. And then when I went on the exchange that year, so this is like a while ago, I got into a health share, which was fine because I paid like the same amount that I paid for the other company, and it was 0 deductible, which is great, but they didn't cover mental health, which was fine because mental health is such like a crazy part of, you know, that stuff anyway, and I'm like, well, if I wasn't going to reach a $7,000 deductible and if I was receiving therapy, like, you know, finding a sliding scale therapist was kind of easy anyway. So like, you know, it's one of those things where I'm like, did it matter? No. Everything else was covered, so that's good. So now like I'm kind of like getting back into like, well, health shares aren't health insurance. That's why they're like not, you know, is kind of like they don't count. But like at this point I'm like, actually health shares make so much more sense than health insurance, and you know what, I probably won't be like treated like shit by them, you know, if they even have a mental health aspect to any of them. I don't know if they do. I found a couple, and I just kind of looked for health shares for small businesses, for small business owners, and found a couple. Not something that I've done yet, but like the deductibles are getting high, so you know it's very possible that that's going to be an option. I'm just kind of like letting people know that like there are other things that you could be doing for your health that like will not be $1,600 a month. Yay. But they don't count as health insurance, so just letting you know. That's the caveat. So yeah, one of the big health insurances is being, what is that called? It's being managed by a different company than it has been for the last 15 years, and so like they are just kind of making a lot of trouble for me in particular, but I'm sure for everyone, because it's just gotten to the point where it's like, so it sounds like you guys are stalling up for anything and everything because you don't want to actually do anything for people. And whenever I talk about this stuff with other therapists, there are always a couple of other therapists who do not take insurances, and this is the reason why. It just ends up that like they like insurances have become so demanding. I billed for someone who I'm not paneled with them, like with their insurance. It's fine, like that person luckily makes enough and can, you know, like pay out of pocket, which was fine. We're all good. But the other thing that happened with that is that same health insurance, who I'm not paneled with, is asking for medical records. And they're asking for so what they end up doing, which I think like this is one of those things where I'm like, there's a middleman, and it seems like there's going to be a lot of money. Money has to be exchanged somehow in this because people are being paid clearly for this shit. So the It's HHS. I have forgotten which HHS. It's like, oh, the Human Health Services. Sorry. I'm like, Homeland Security? That doesn't make any sense. Um, the Human and Health Services, through the government, right, is allowed to request through these third party companies medical records, and they just want to know that you keep them. And like, according to the law, there is nothing that says that I have to keep medical records, just that like people come to their sessions. It's the insurances that are like, and you need this and you need this, you need time in, you need time out, you need goals, you need to list this, you need to list that, you need to have your client sign this, you need to, and all of these other things that you're just like, I'm not even paneled with you. Like, why are you bothering me this much? But like, this one company calling me, it's called me 3 times in a day to be like, well, how are you sending it to us? Do you know when you're gonna have it? Do you have it? Can you send it? You said that you would have it by the, and I'm like, oh my fucking God, leave me the fuck alone right now. Like, I'm going to scream at you on the fucking phone. I don't know what, like, it almost sounds like this person has some commission personally on the line in order for them to call this much, Like, I swear it's the same person every fucking time, too. And then, like, a bunch of other things, like, so, yeah, like, this stuff keeps happening where I'm just like, the company billed correctly, like, I'm not on the, like, I'm not on the, I'm not paneled with them, so like it doesn't, it's also, I should say, ethically you should keep records, like, just letting you know, you should keep records. It's just not required for private practice. Other people definitely have to have medical records, such as like doctors and hospitals, but like by my, like, by ethics, I have to keep some documentation. I do not have to keep as detailed notes as like soap notes or whatever. Like, those are really just to, they're made up. They're really just to appease insurances, but they're not even really for insurances. It's just a habit, I guess. I don't know. It's like such a weird fucking thing. Like, not required, but like, everyone does it. So like, you should be doing the things that you need to be doing. And that are required that you do, and the optional stuff, if just so that you know who has come to your sessions. And I've received stuff from other therapists where it was like, date, like, client's name, date, like, date that they came in, topic, date that they came in, topic. Like, that's all that was given to me as the medical record, and I'm like, yeah, that's appropriate for a medical record. That's perfectly fine. This does not need to go any farther than that, So yeah. So they do these requests, and now, like, it just seems like the company that has decided not to pay me, they're asking for a bunch of records, and I'm like, what are you actually doing? Like, you aren't paying me, and now you're like, hey, can I get the records for that person? Like, you just told me that I wasn't a part of your panel. Like, I've been on your panel for quite some fucking time. Like, what do you mean you want the record for this fucking person? You billed correctly. I billed correctly. You did whatever you needed to fucking do. So, like, what are you talking about? And it's like, they don't know. Like, but it does seem kind of personal at this point that it's just like, yeah, we didn't pay you. Could you give us the medical record? Like, okay. Sure, here are all the times you didn't pay me for this person. Why are you terrorizing me? Why are you bullying me in this way? Like, and like, it would, like, this would come up, like, there was someone who asked for a record that I was like, I think you're targeting me. I honestly think you're targeting me. And they were like, we have no idea what's going on. And I was like, this feels very targeted from, like, the company that is doing this to me. Like, and the third party is like, we have no idea. We don't know what's going on. And I'm like, really? I want to yell and scream at you, but you know what? You don't have any real part of this, and, like, fuck you, though. Like, just fuck you from the bottom of my heart. Fuck you. I hope that you have the perfect hair day, and it rains anyway, and it ruins it. Just fuck you. I'm just trying to make up funny stuff so that I don't have to deal with this shit. Like, I'm like, yeah, maybe I will have a good hair day one day, and it will rain that day. you get what you give, I guess. But also these companies are shit. So maybe they do get shit. So yeah, it's a lot. It's like, this is why, like, therapists don't take insurances. I didn't take insurances for a while, but then I was making like $600 a month, and that just wasn't gonna pay my bills. And then, it just seemed like the option of like actually accepting insurance was probably a little bit better for me and for like my bottom line, and it was, until it wasn't. But if there's ever a question as to why like you can't find a therapist in network, it's because of this stuff. Like, it is entirely because of this stuff. Like, they will not, when I was not accepting insurance, I would still accept insurance and be like, I will give you a bill, like, you will get a check, you have to sign it over to me. And that became such a nightmare, because I was trying to be nice. Even though I had them, like, I could have them repeat it back to me, they'd be like, I don't know, I got a check, I'm gonna cash it. And I'd be like, please don't. And then they'd call the insurance and be like, well, it's a check in my name, and I'd be like, did you pay me? Did you pay me my full fee? Did you pay me $200 every time you came into this office? No? Okay, so that is, like, actually my check. And they'd be like, oh. I'd be like, fuck you. Really? Seriously? And like, it just became such a big deal after a while, especially like chasing down people. And there was someone who was drug addicted who like came 2 or 3 times. They didn't pay me. Then they were like, well, you should have just known better than to trust me. Basically what they said. And it was like, okay. And I called the insurance and was like, hey, so this person committed insurance fraud, just letting you know. And they were like, yeah, okay. And I was like, okay, so I didn't get paid. And they're like, yeah, we don't care. Like, it was sent out in the way that we did it. So, do whatever you need to do, I guess. And I'm like, you don't care that insurance fraud just happened? No, not one fucking bit. So, you can go ahead, I guess, and do those things. But I'm also like, ugh. So, like, again, when like therapists don't accept like insurances, this is the reason why, and like, honestly, if you think $200 less, because I know some people from the UK are like, oh my god, $200, yeah, that's relatively low. By the way, for a 60-minute session, most people charge between $400 and $600. So like $200 like technically should be nothing, but like I know it means a lot to a lot of other people. Like, I'm not trying to dismiss that. Like, if a person came every week and had to pay that, like, that would be a lot of money at the end of the month. Like, that's a whole budget issue. I totally get it. This is why I accept insurances, because I don't want my clients to have to go through like almost being in poverty because like, they want to continue with their sessions. I completely get it. But also, why are you sticker shocked at this? This is not like even and coaches up to $6,000. Up to $6,000 for 1 hour, because they can, because they're unregulated and it doesn't matter, and they feel like the more that you pay them money, the more that you're invested on your wellness, even though they want to keep you unwell so that you keep coming back. The shit that happens, man, all around money. So like there's stuff going on that like clear, like, and it's so interesting when like one of my friends, she was so desperate, she was so like in a bad spot, and she paid like a lot of money towards a psychic, and I was like, oh no, like that person like scammed you out of that money, and it was like thousands, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm over here feeling like shit because like, if worse came to worse, I'd have to like not have like my wonderful like cool client and be like, and have to be like, so yeah, my hourly rate is this, and like have them be like and I'd be like, I know, I'll help you find another therapist. It's okay. But also know that that therapist probably isn't getting that much money either. And then all of the other stuff that comes with it. So, you know, like, it is it just, like, you know, like, you're screwed if you do, you're screwed if you don't. Like, what are you supposed to be doing? You know, I got into this field to help people. I mean, I hope that it pays my bills. But also, at this point, I have no faith that that insurance company is going to do the right thing. And I think that, and hope that there will be a class action lawsuit, because this has been just going on for so long that, like, I had another issue with that same insurance, and it was not resolved for 2.5 years. So, like, it just kind of, all right, cool, thanks, I guess. Yeah, I guess fuck me for taking your insurance to begin with. That's, should have decided differently a couple of years ago. Oh, how terrible. But I mean, for other insurances, it's been completely fine. Like, being on Medicaid for both, like, for two of the many states that I'm licensed in, worked out fine. It's good. No problem. We're all good. Except for when they fuck with me sometimes, and I'm like, what you said was, emotionally damaging to me, and also not true, so maybe you need to watch your fucking mouth. Oh, people and the words that they use and how awful they can be. Oh, I don't care if you want to be paneled, like, even if you're very enthusiastic about it, like, okay, I'm still paneled. So what you just said was a lie, and also condescending, and kind of a bitch move, by the way. Fun. Anyway, I wish you all the best. All of you. And I will talk with you soon. Alright, have a good one. Alright, bye.